Good afternoon, and welcome to Arts, Culture, and Things in Between. Thank you for joining us. I am Rose October, and I'm so glad that you're here with us this afternoon. Welcome to those of you who are coming on for the first time, and for the repeaters, lots of hugs for coming back. As usual, I say a little bit about what the program is about so that folks who are joining us for the first time will know what they're about to view, and it would be a refresher for those of you who've been here before. So Arts, Culture, and Things in Between is a program that features individuals who are gatekeepers of our arts and culture. They are not only performing artists, but also teachers, advocates, and scholars who focus on the preservation of the arts and culture. When arts is mentioned, it is being referred to as different art forms such as visual, applied, or performing arts. An example of visual arts would be painting. Another one would be sculpture. How about photography and film? Applied arts could be architecture, as in designing or building, constructing a project. How about fashion designing, where the designer is working with different patterns and fabrics? Jewelry designing, where the materials of wood and plastic, metal, silver, and gold are manipulated, in addition to working with stones. Furniture design. Every time I say furniture design, I think of the guest that we had on here a few weeks ago and the work that he has done and continue to do with the various types of woods, the way that woods are cut and designed. Then we look at performing arts. That has to do with music, photography, film, theater, opera, drama, singing, stand-up comedy, and of course, the one that brings a smile to my face, dance, my love. When culture is mentioned, now culture is the middle part of the name of the program, arts, culture, and things in between. When culture is mentioned, it generally means the way of life for a particular group of people. So for this program, it is inclusive to mean the various groups of individuals that embrace ways of life. In other words, looking at attitudes and behaviors. What is important to note is that as culture is mentioned, I'm really looking at how practices are passed from one generation to another. The last part of the name of the program, Things in Between, refer to life's issues that affect the execution of the arts and cultural practices. This involves both positive and negative experiences that become part of the creative process. Today's guest is the epitome of the program's name. But before we meet him, let me tell you a little bit about him through his bio. Natural Langdon, and I did say natural, that is his name, is a director, writer, producer, photographer, and award-winning filmmaker who was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. As a child, he was curious about the arts and his involvement was nurtured by his parents. While in junior high school, his artistic interests were in breakdance, hip-hop music, photography, and drawing. He even sang in the school's choir. Throughout his teenage years, he engaged in these activities merely as hobbies and did not think much of them. This changed as he got older. Natural's higher educational journey originated at Benedict College in Columbia, South Carolina, where he began taking classes towards his bachelor degree. His interest in filmmaking was intensified while attending Benedict, and he vividly remembers one of his professors giving him the opportunity to use a camera. This has left a lasting memory and has been foundational for his photographic work. With a break in his education from Benedict College, Natural later returned to college but this time at SUNY Empire State College, where he completed a Bachelor of Arts in Film Production. Immediately following, he attended the School of Visual Arts, where he earned a Master of Professional Studies in Directing. His academic future holds a doctorate in Media, Culture, and Heritage, Film by Practice, which he plans on beginning in the fall of this year. In 1995, without trained knowledge of filmmaking, Natural decided he was going to make a film based on a script sent to him by his cousin. It is funny that he does not remember the name of the project, and only that nothing came out of this attempt because he did not know what he was doing at the time. Nonetheless, this was a foundation that was likely laid on which to build his creativity. In strengthening his craft as a creative, Natural acknowledges there were a couple of African-American filmmakers, Spike Lee and Robert Townsend, who were his influencers. He reflects that two of Lee's films, Do the Right Thing and School Days, along with one of Townsend's Hollywood Shuffle, left indelible impressions for him. He was both inquisitive and in awe watching the films made by these two African-American actors and producers, and this pushed him on his self-teaching journey about filmmaking. Natural is a global community servant in the truest sense. His love for and dedication to the arts and education is admirable. This has taken him from producing films about urban drama and social injustice in Brownsville, Brooklyn, to teaching youth about film production in underserved communities worldwide, literally worldwide. This is reflective in various areas of his work as children are featured. Natural is passionate, be it writing, producing, filming, or directing. He is passionate about preserving his African roots and culture, and has done this by his international travels through Africa, Europe, South America, Asia, and the Caribbean. While his mission is to explore, learn, and embrace his ancestors' legacies, he is unearthing and showcasing the untold stories of urban communities around the world. He deliberately researches authentic culture and the contributions of people of African ancestry. In a general way, Natural has experienced some humble beginnings as an artist. As a music scorer, he makes music and has scored for a couple of films. His self-teachings on this began in 2004. As a photographer, he shot his first set of photographs in high school, when all he knew was that he was just doing it. As an adult, he realized that he is a self-taught photographer. As a writer in 2016, he co-authored and self-published a book, Exploring African Diaspora, which is also about hip-hop culture in Bahia, Brazil. Including in this book was his photographic work. This project was a spin-off of a course that he had taken at Empire State College. As a filmmaker, he's been making films since 1994, when he co-wrote his first project, On the Run, and began shooting it in 1994. He has collaborated with international recording artists and produced many music videos in Ghana, Haiti, Brazil, Cuba, Morocco, Egypt, Iceland, Ethiopia, Nigeria. Some of the groups that he's worked with, for example, Tritra 4 in Ghana, Jaman, Honor the Mothers, Honor Man in Haiti, Algo Sistema de Som o Principio in 2016, Bazaar Royale in Cuba in 2016, Bobo Wayne, Morocco, 2017. He's also worked with featured artists, Fat Joe, Jim Jones, Bun B, Franchise Boys, Ali Vegas, Shorty Low, Rick Ross, Redman, and Method Man. Additionally, he has been involved in shooting promo videos for Mixcast TV. Films for Natural He's done 10 documentaries between 1997 and this year. And he's done them in Morocco in 97, Hello Rio, Brazil in 98, Brownsville Troopers in 98 in Brooklyn, Quest of a Woman's Journey in Long Island, 1999, First Time Africa, 2014, Exploring Cuba, 2016, Exploring Asia, 2017, The Real Authentic Wakanda in 2018, On a Mission to Ethiopia, 2019, and Finding the Guru Within, 2020. To his credit, he's a well-decorated filmmaker. He's received many accolades for his films. Process of Elimination was recognized by Martha's Vineyard Festival and received the Audience Choice Award. And this was done in 2002. And between 2009 and 2019, his film, Bullets Over Brownsville, received 7 awards between 2009 and 2019, 7 awards for one film. His most recently done film, Nikita, filmed in Brazil, received several awards, but he's proud of these 2. The recognition that it was received by the Silicon Valley African Film Festival for diaspora achievement in narrative short film that happened last year, and Rollywood International Film Festival in Trinidad and Tobago for the best international action film this year, one of them this year. Currently, Natural is an entrepreneur who runs a nonprofit organization, Global Arts and Travel Foundation. It's an LLC. This was established in 2019. He is in the process of forming another that will be called Natural Langdon Productions Company. What more can I say to you, my viewers? Of arts, culture, and things in between, let's take a peek at today's guest, Natural Langdon, the director, producer, photographer, writer, and award-winning filmmaker. Let's take a quick peek at his work.
One step ahead and you're out. One step behind and you're down. You're down. You've got to be where that spotlight is shining. One step ahead and you're out.
Wow. So, Natural, welcome to Arts, Culture, and Things in Between.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. That was an introduction, huh? Thank you.
Yeah. And mind you, I said, let's take a peek of his work, because you didn't know that the workings had begun when you were a boy.
No.
Looking at those photographs, I mean, from a boy to a man, what are your thoughts?
I just think like, oh, wow, that little kid that was eating that bowl of cereal became the man that he wanted to be. And now it's time to become an even greater man. You know, when you have a vision or idea for yourself as a young child and to start seeing things manifest as an adult, it's a blessing.
Well, I know you were tickled, right? Because
yeah, it was funny.
Watching yourself moving through the timeline of your life.
Yes.
Before we go further, when I started reading about your bio, I emphasized that Natural is your name.
Yes.
And my last name is October. And I know when people ask me, what's your name, ma'am? And I say, Rosalind October. They said, ma'am, that's your date of birth, your name, you know? So I wonder, with your name Natural, have you gotten anything that's similar to what I just mentioned?
I get that all the time. You know, people want to know my name, my real name, this name, that name. But, you know, Natural is a name, too, that I chose for myself. So it's just part of not only my name, but just kind of who I am and who I set out to be, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you a ticklish question. You said you set up for yourself. Is that your legal name?
No, that's not my legal name. No.
Do you feel like sharing your legal name with us?
Maybe not.
Listen, I feel you because it was until I got older that I started embracing my middle name. My middle name, which is Pinky. I'm telling the world, Pinky. You know, but for some reason, growing up as a child, I couldn't believe it. Pinky? Okay, so I get you. So as a child, let's go back a little bit. As a child, what did you want to become?
Wow. I mean, I think it was stages to what I wanted to become. I think initially, maybe as a kid, you want to become a, fireman or something. But once I started getting a realization of like wanting to expand and explore, I wanted to be a basketball player. I spent a lot of time, waking up early trying to, get my skills together to play ball, because I saw that as a way out of the hood, and I saw that as a way to, change my life and my family's life. But I wasn't blessed with a lot of height, enough height to play basketball. I remember a quick story. My cousins came from the Caribbean to Brooklyn, and we were all like the same age, but around 13, they were like 6'4", 6'5", and one year that summer playing basketball, I realized, okay, well, let me try to figure something else out, because it just gave me a reality check, and I realized the type of work I would have to put in and the dedication, and but I was also in love with the arts, music, dance, and that was something that I knew I could do and embrace and, kind of immerse myself in. So that was another dream of mine. And I see it kind of morphed and manifest into what I'm doing now.
Good. So as a child, who were the individuals who played that nurturing role with your artistic talents? Who were they?
I think my family, they're supportive, but there was a teacher, Mrs. Miller, that introduced me to like music and singing, and also it just allowed me to see that there was opportunity. She took us to the studio, so I had a chance to see what the studio looked like. We recorded 3 songs as a group. And that gave me an insight into like, this is really possible. It's not just like a dream, it's not like basketball, like this was more tangible. And then you realize the same amount of work that it takes for basketball, or the same amount of work it takes for anything to be successful, you have to be willing to put that work in. And I learned that through the process as well. But my family was a bit supportive, but I think anything with arts and all that, it's like a dream. So they want you to get a job with good benefits, so
big up to Miss Miller, big up
yes.
to all the teachers. I have a similar story, because my dance life and my career as a dancer, I always have to mention Teacher Stella Walcott. Hi, Teacher Stella, if you're watching. And I want to take the opportunity to say thank you to the teachers who might be on here.
Yes.
And doing something that's making an impression. And sometimes parents send their children to school and do not realize that teachers are making a difference in the children's life other than educating them in the academics. So I'm so happy to hear that I have a partner in this, that you mentioned Miss Miller, and I'm able to hail up Teacher Stella Walcott, who I refer to as one of my other 2 mothers. I have 2 other mothers alive, aside from my late biological mother. So that's good that Miss Miller nurtured you there. So you grew up in Brownsville, Brooklyn.
Yes.
And you also mentioned that you wanted to play basketball initially as a way of getting out of the hood and taking care of your family. Who were some role models in your community there in Brownsville, other than I'm guessing that you went to school in Brownsville and Miss Miller was there? Other than Miss Miller, or in addition to Miss Miller, who were some other role models there for you?
I was very fortunate to have a lot of role models, and I don't even think at the time they knew they were being role models. But I would say my father, for one. My father taught me. He instilled like basic foundation of love and fundamentals to me. You don't walk past people without saying hello. You don't do this or that. So he was giving me like rules and tools about life, you know, and he gave a lot of them to me, so much that I didn't really understand everything until I got older. And now I'm still kind of realizing the things that he said to me back then, and I see how it's like manifesting in my life now till this day. But I also went to a place called Brownsville Heritage House, and there you learned about African culture. You learned about like self-love. You learned about community, and they took you to different places, you know, to see outside of the hood, or maybe to other places to just kind of get an idea to get you off the block. And that was in the library, so it was connected to the library, so that helped. And then also Miss Miller, but it was a lot of teachers that kind of believed in me early, you know, saw some type of potential. And then of course my grandmother, both my grandmothers, my mother, my grandfather, like I had a lot of people that spread love to me, you know, even dudes on the block, like even if they were doing something that was like considered not good, they would still kind of tell me like, yo, nah, you don't do this, or I'm doing this because of this. So they would kind of guide and explain things to me. So I believe like it was a community affair, you know. And my big sister, she's only like a year and 11 months older than me, but growing up, she was like,
and you.
Yeah, she's older than me, so she thought she was my mother, so she'll get a kick out of that. But my aunts, I had a lot of support, you know. At the time, I didn't know it, but as I reflect, I realized like it was really a community. Back in the days, they said, you know, the community, you know, it takes a village to raise a child, and in my case, that was really true.
Yeah. Good. I love it. You mentioned the Brownsville Heritage
House.
Is it still in existence in Brownsville, Brooklyn?
I believe it's still in existence. A funny story is, I when I left college and I came back to Brownsville, I went back there and it was shut down. And so within 6 months, I was opened the place back up. Became a director there, and was able to give it back to the community. So it was just an interesting thing how I came from like having that experience as a young person, and one of the first things I did when I came back home was help to get it reopened. I'm not sure of if it's open now, but yeah, that was a great experience for me, because I really felt like this place kind of helped me see myself for who I was, you know, not who other people told me I was.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I have one last question about growing up before we take a peek at your work. And correct me if I'm wrong, but we have moved around at Empire State College at certain times together.
Yes.
And when your work has been showcased, and I've been there a few times when your work had been showcased, I've seen your mother.
Yeah.
There, right? And I think your aunt was there at one time.
Yes. Yes.
What conversations do you have with your mom now, looking back at your journey?
You know, I'm very thankful for my mother, you know. I mean, she just believed in me when nobody else could believe in me, you know. And my aunt, you know, God rest her soul, she just passed away during this time.
I'm sorry to hear.
Yeah, she just passed away during this time, and that's really affected me, but in a good way, you know. And she really believed in me as well, and gave me the opportunity to grow and shine as a man, you know. And just in her last years, in her last time, you know, we spent a lot of time together, and she just showed me who I was beyond, you know, an artist, or just, you know, some type of outside anything outside of myself. You know, she left me with some great words and encouragement, and just put me in a great position in life right now. So I'm just grateful and thankful to my aunt, my mother, and all the women that really contributed to my growth and success.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm sorry to hear about the loss of your aunt. I didn't know that she.
Yeah, I know you didn't know that.
And thanks for being vulnerable on this one too. So let's take a quick peek at your work,
Yeah.
and we'll come back and talk some more. All right?
Thank you.
We don't play with guns, okay? You play with books. You get your education. Get your education.
Wow. Wow. That was a promo for one of your films that really gets to the core of some issues in our communities, period. Bullets in Brooklyn. And this film you've received a lot of accolades for.
Yes.
What is the story behind the film?
The story behind the film is my partner, Damon did it, and I, we had a deal for another project that we just did. And in between the time we were waiting to get that deal done, we said, we're going to just make a project for us and, you know, for our community. And we set out to create Bullets Over Brownsville. And, you know, we put a lot of time and work into the community and really get into the core of the issues that we're facing. And it wasn't even about like having answers, or we just wanted to kind of give you an idea of what's going on in our community. And it's not just so cut and dry, like do this, do that, get a job. You know, there's lives and stories behind people. There's generations of systematic oppression that plagues the community, and then it's easy to point the finger and say, just do this, or why don't you do that? You know, oh, go to school. Like, these are just easy things to say. And when you get to understand people or get to hear their story, then you get to see like there's so many layers of hurt, pain, and suffering. And I think we were able to touch at that, and also talk about real issues of gun violence, assault, and just the idea of wanting to get out the hood and different ways to get out. So, and also expressing being an artist.
So where does Bullets Over Brownsville come in?
So Bullets Over Brownsville is really a title, meaning Brownsville could have just been any urban community around the world, you know? So Bullets Over was the statement, and because we're from Brownsville, we highlighted our community. But as we toured the film around state to state, theater, open house, anywhere we could play it in front of a group of people, we realized that this was the same plight of people in all of these communities. You know, there's a community with these characters in it, and these characters are really reflecting, you know, America for sure. But now that I've traveled outside of America, I see that it was reflecting, you know, the African diaspora, you know, in such a prolific way at the time that I didn't realize until, you know, going to other communities, other neighborhoods where you see some of these same issues.
No, I am guessing that it was shown in Brownsville.
Yes, it screened in Brownsville to a packed audience, and we screened it ourselves. We rented out a movie theater, and in the neighborhoods where we grew up in Brownsville, East New York area, and the community came out, and it was just wonderful after putting in that work to get it done. The support.
How was it received?
I think it was received in an amazing fashion, because the thing about this was people were able to see themselves, right? But in a way where the news isn't saying like you're a bad person, or we weren't glorifying you, and we weren't condemning you. What we did was just show love, you know, and that also gave me an awareness that anytime you go somewhere, you let people define themselves, you know, like you shouldn't just project whatever stereotype or ideology or idea that you want to walk away with on people. Instead, you give them the opportunity to tell their own story, you know, so we wanted to be a voice for the voiceless.
You sound like a social worker there, you know, and I'm smiling as I hear you when you say, you know, let the person tell their own story. If we were doing a social work class here, I would call it a social history.
Yes.
That's what it's called if I were to put on my social worker hat. The other thing that you said that is very, very keen, and I hope that some of our reviewers understand this, is that labeling hurts. We have to allow, like you just said, allow individuals to let you know how they see themselves so that we can learn about that individual. One of the things that I do in my career, or I've done, and I represent this through my case, which is credentialed alcoholism and substance abuse counselor. One of the things I don't do, and I hadn't done in practice, and I teach this, is that we should not call individuals who struggle with addictions an addict, those who struggle with alcohol an alcoholic, those who struggle with the use of crack cocaine a crackhead. We should not do this. We should allow the individuals to tell us who they are, because they can be our mother, our brother, our uncle, and we know that there is so much more to. Anyways, I went off on a tangent. Why did you take me there now, Natural? Why?
I mean, no, but the thing is this, it's not even a tangent. The thing is this is the truth. It's a fact, right? And we get so caught up in labels and trying to identify people, right? So we could feel more comfortable with either who we are or how we can be over them, that, you know, we use these things. But we know that people are more than just whatever label, you know, you want to pin on them.
So true. So true. So one last question about Bullets Over Brooklyn in terms of when you speak with young children, when you speak with children, and or if you've gone back to Brownsville and dealt with the youth, what is your messaging to them?
I think my biggest messaging is that you're more than enough, you know, like, it's something in you that's greatness. It's something in you that's special. It's something in you that's prolific. And other people might not understand that, but it's not for them to understand. So the first thing is believe in yourself, love yourself, get to know who you are, right? And getting to know who you are is a process. It's not like you wake up and say, like, I just know who I am, right? You know who people told you you were. So get to the point where you could really identify who you are, identify your gifts, and then proceed, you know, and proceed like your life depends on it, because in most cases in these areas it does.
When you look back 5 years to now, would you say the messaging has changed?
In terms of my message, or just
your message to youth?
Nah, my message is the same. My message is you could do whatever you think you could do, you know? And the thing is this, not only can you do what you think you could do, but find someone that's done it and then start mimicking what they've done, and then you'll start creating what you want. You know, success leaves clues. Find a mentor, and it doesn't have to be someone you know. You have YouTube now. You have all types of things in order to look up somebody that you admire, or a subject that you admire, and start finding the people that's leading in those categories. And if everybody in your house telling you you can't do it, take that time out on your cell phone when you got a minute to yourself and listen to the people that have done it. And then you'll know you could do it, because they're no different than you, except for they applied something. You know, they applied a tool, a way of life.
I hear you, but sometimes it's so easier said than done when
It
we
is.
are involved in household where there is a lot of negativity, where individuals are just trying to survive and they're caught there. So finding that moment that you're talking about sometimes can be so difficult. And that's where the Miss Millers come in.
Exactly.
You know, that's where the teachers come in and really play a part. And, you know, if parents are listening in and you're in a similar situation like we're talking about, please do not hesitate to talk to your children's teachers. Get them in on this, because the bottom line is they spend a lot of time in school than they do at home. So we have to partner with teachers.
Yeah.
Let's take another peek at your work, and then we'll come back and talk some more, Natural.
Okay. Thank you.
Peace. Natural Langdon here.
International Nat, we out here, man. Walking with the Lions. Getting a lot of love out here in Zambia.
The lion represents majesty, strength, courage, justice, military might, and excellence. The king of the beast, the king of kings, lord of lords, conquering lion of Judah, the light of the world, a symbol of pride, kingly power, might, protection, strength, kingship, and African sovereignty. As I walk with my pride, I shall fear no evil. No weapon formed against me shall prosper.
Prides of lions will never come together, or when a pride stays in its own territory, any from the other territory tries to go to the other or overlaps their territory. Usually there is fights and killings. Hence the reason why we keep them according to their prides and make sure that we don't get to move anyone into the other. Except for males, as long as in the other there is no male.
Walking with the lions was amazing, scary, exhilarating experience, you know. As soon as I heard them roar for the first time.
Are you okay? You're okay?
No worries. Don't panic.
I ain't gonna front, I was a little shook. Had to just suck it up, dig deep, and face the fears, you know.
Not easy to conquer your fears.
No.
Powerful animals, gotta respect them, you know. But, you know, the Lion King walking with the lions, so it's only fitting, it's only right. Yeah, heart was pumping.
Two lions. Two kings. Yeah, together. This is a wonderful experience. It's a blessing to be here. Only happens in Africa.
So I'll let that digest a little bit. And for those of you who've joined us late, I'm Rose October on Arts, Culture, and Things in Between. And my guest today is Natural Langdon, who is a director, a producer, a photographer, a writer, an award-winning filmmaker, all of those things. We just watch. Oh, natural. I said in your bio that you're passionate about what you do. And we started off this segment that we just watched with your photographs that you have taken yourself in Haiti, in Ethiopia, in Brazil, and you were there, and you were with our brothers and sisters in these countries, and then you went to Mother Africa. But let's talk about your experience of working with the children. I wanted to highlight that because I know you're passionate about the work with the children. Now, when you're out there internationally and you are visiting the communities and you're with the children, what are you hoping to accomplish?
Well, it depends on what community, but overall, I want to accomplish, first of all, when they see me, they can see themselves, right? So if I could come from over here, that means that they have the opportunity to travel and, you know, see the world as well. Now, because I'm American, you know, sometimes it might seem like that's a privilege, and I know it is a privilege in terms of traveling, you know, with a passport. But I also introduced them to the camera. So that's my main goal and tools, because I believe the camera will be able to transform their lives and get them to go and see other things, right? Because if you become great at what you do, the world will recognize it, and you can go anywhere in the world and they'll pay, and they'll be calling you, and they'll be moving mountains for you. They'll find you if you're great at what you do. And I believe that. So I like to introduce them to the camera, because the camera is also something that helped change and transform my life and allow me to travel. So I like to give that gift of sharing that skill set. I also like to donate a camera to the communities, right? Because it's one thing to teach them how to do something, and it's another thing to leave it behind so they can practice, right? Because how else will they get this technology? A lot of times, this is the first time, you know, the kids in some of these countries and villages or communities have been exposed to it, made it tangible in their hands. So that is the goal. The goal is to bring a real life African black man from America perspective anywhere I go. Because another thing is, when you get caught up with the music, or you get caught up with the images of how, you know, mainstream media shows us or depicts us, you know, is less than favorable most of the time. So I allow my interactions on a personal human level to change ideology, to change, you know, how perception, you know. And a lot of times my perception and ideology has to change too, because they're also being shown in mostly negative, derogatory ways, which I realized that it was impacting me, right? And I had to make a decision to, one, become more informed, and for two, move with love and not fear. So these are the things that I try to show up with.
Now, you had one of the pictures that we showed. There was a group of boys in Haiti with a camera.
Yes.
Tell us about that experience, because they looked like they were on cloud nine.
You know, that's one of the best experiences I've had, just in terms of going out, because it was one of the first experiences I had, like with groups of kids in the camera, outside of the US. Because in the US, you know, I just want to say this first. I make it a point to show kids home, you know, how to use the camera and how to grow from the same experiences, right? Because it's one thing to go and try to save the world and all this stuff, and sometimes you got to be a self-savior. I believe in that, and I believe in teaching at home first, right? But then I see the impact that it has overseas, because a lot of things you take for granted that we have here. So putting the camera in those young boys' hands, and they was able to just create that vision right on the spot, and things that took me like a long time to learn, they learned in a day. So that just showed me that, first of all, the mind is expanding with our children, you know, and technology. I didn't grow up with this type of technology. So they're growing up in this world of this technology. And even when they don't have access to the technology, their minds are already in tuned a certain way. There's no limitation there, especially when they're that young. So it was just super impactful for my life, you know, and being able to leave a camera behind, you know, into the community was just even greater experience. And that moment there also made me say, I want to give more cameras away, because that was my personal camera. You know, I had that camera for like some time, and I shot many projects with that camera. Like, I really loved that camera, you know, but I knew I had to give it away, because it wasn't about the camera, and it wasn't about my relationship with that camera, you know, and the fact that I'm from America, I have access to get another camera one way or another. So just to be able to leave it in the community was just rewarding on a spiritual level for me.
So that was a highlight, one of the highlights of your travels and working with children.
Yeah.
You remember an experience that left you very sad?
Yes. The first time I ever traveled out the country, beyond the Caribbean, like when I went to Morocco. This was like, I think 2001, and I mean, no, not 2001. Excuse me, 1997. I went to Morocco, and I was with some friends, and just to see the kids like very hungry, and like street kids, and they were sniffing glue and different things to try to suppress their hunger. And I never really saw that on that level. And it also made me appreciate what I had at home and how I grew up, because I thought I grew up like hard, you know what I mean? Like I thought we, you know, but I had food, you know, I had love, you know, these kids didn't even have parents. So that was the first time I realized, like, whoa, there's something going on in this world that's even more different than I understood, you know, like poverty is different in different places. Like sometimes we won't even be able to understand the level of poverty, and that just reassured me, like changed my narrative, you know, because at one point I'm feeling sorry for myself in my life, right? And I'm like, man, like you had it good, you know, like yeah, you lived in the projects, but you had a place to live, you had family, you had food, you know, like you had clothes, you had love. So once I was able to see that, it was kind of the worst feeling, but it also made me change my narrative.
Were you able to talk to any of those children?
You know, I was able to talk to the kids. I was able to, you know, try to give them some money and stuff, but then I realized they would fight each other, and it was like only the strong, you know, the strongest ones is going to eat.
Right.
You know, and when I realized that, I said, okay, I got to figure out another way how to interact. And it took me time, you know, over the years to kind of find out different ways to help, you know. But yes, I was able to talk to them. There was a language barrier, but you find ways to communicate, you know, and a kind gesture goes a long way. That speaks more than words.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes.
Sure, for sure. Sure. Let's turn our attention now to the walk with the lion.
Yeah.
That folks probably looking at it and asking, is this for real?
It's real.
And you were vulnerable.
Very. I was scared.
I was about to ask you, how was the experience for you? Other than feeling scared, what pushed you to go through that experience?
It was something I dreamt about. Like one day I'm gonna be able to just go to Africa, walk with the lions and this and that. I'm like, all right. But then I realized like that exists and there's an opportunity. And I went to Zambia. And in Zambia, I was able to, you know, go to go to the gaming reserve and but it's not even a gaming reserve. It's like some type of community there, and so I was able to go with the trainers and people that take care of the lions, and I was able to have that experience. And I'll tell you this: before I saw the lions, I heard them. And I'm walking, I'm thinking, yeah, this is nothing. And then I heard them roar, and my heart just like sank to my feet. And this before I even saw them, I'm like, oh my God, all right, this is an opportunity to change my mind. Nobody's gonna know. But I wound up doing it, and it was like one of the most exhilarating experiences, and vulnerable, and the fear. I believe in doing things afraid, because there's going to be times you're going to be afraid in life. I've been afraid many times in life, but I believe in doing it afraid, and I believe faith over fear, so if I have enough faith to do something, then that will override my fear of doing it. And those are just some of the principles that helped me get through.
Well, I'm sure that, I don't know what the guys are called. I would use the word trainers for the lack of a better word right now. The guys there who are guiding you along the way.
Yes.
And I guess they had to give you pointers with how to breathe, how to walk, how to behave. And just watching you holding the tail of the lion. I was wondering as I watched, what is natural thinking now, aside from the fear?
Yeah.
Because you're doing this.
Yes.
You're walking with the lions.
Yes.
It's a fearless walk.
Yes.
Fearless journey.
Yes.
You're trusting the guide who is really coaching you along, telling you it's okay. But what was your thought, really?
I think I was more trusting God than the guide. Like I was really trusting, like, yo, God, you wouldn't put me here to do this and let this lion eat me up, Like, this is the dream I had. Now it's a reality, and I'm past my fear because that was short-lived. This either you're gonna do it or you're not, So now at that moment, I'm just like, look, all right, I gotta be the Lion King. This is my tribe, this is my pride. Like, we're walking together, and it was really a metaphor for what I want in life, and what I wanted in life, and the people around me. I started looking at it like, look, I want these type of people with these type of energies and spirits around me, and I want to be there for them in the same way. So it was like a way that I could see it in real life, like, but in a way where I could see it in this like most natural way, through animals and in a real live experience. So the guides did teach me how to approach, how to walk around, and don't make too many sudden moves, and also to just breathe and then connect, and yeah, I was able to not only conquer my fear, but also like say like, man, I really thought of that, and like out of everything in the world that was possible, so that just let me know my wildest dreams could happen.
How did it change your life? How did this experience change your life? Because I'm thinking you've gone through, for some people, it could be traumatic, but you made that work in a positive way for you. After you had the experience, how did it change your life?
I mean, there was a fearlessness behind it, but also I think having that experience right after that, I came home, and my aunt was in the hospital, and she was about to expire from this physical realm. And between what she taught me before I left in terms of being the lion who I am on the inside, and in between walking with the lions and saying my prayers for her there at that moment, like it was like a full circle thing. So when I was able to deal with the doctors and deal with the different people that were trying to impose their will and power over me because they thought they were in a stronger position than me, that walk already showed me that can't nobody do nothing to me that I don't allow, and it was just a strong, like that whole time was just it was the culmination of, you know, just rising to another level of manhood, you know. I could see why they do like the rites of passage. To me, it was almost like a rites of passage, you know. So it motivated me in a way that I can't even put into words. But it also showed me like what I want in the future and how I want to move with, you know, to be a part of a team. I want to move a certain way.
What I'm receiving from what you just shared is, or from what you are sharing, what I'm receiving is that it sounds like you have gotten some spiritual groundedness.
Yes.
If that sounds, I mean, that's what I'm getting.
Yes.
From what you're sharing. Your fear was let go, right? And you were just stepping in faith. Every step that you made was in faith because you knew that there was a higher power taking care of you. Yep.
Yeah.
So what would you say to someone who is thinking about doing this? And what is the experience called in Africa? Is it called a particular?
I think it's called the Lion Walk.
Okay.
I think it's called a Lion Walk.
Is that an activity for like visitors? How does someone do that?
They can look it up. I just looked it up on Google.
Okay.
And I found like, okay, this is happening in only a few countries, and okay. Zambia was one of them. So I did it there. I would tell someone, do it. You know, maybe they won't get the same ideal experience that I got, you know, but whatever the reason why they want to do it, I think is going to be that much greater for them, you know. Is one thing seeing it through me, and I like to do these things and show it, you know, because I want people to know that it's possible. And I'm talking about people that, you know, seeing me do it and I look like you, or I move like you, or I talk like you, you know, it makes it that much more possible for you to believe you could do it. Right? Because I'm no greater or less than you, you know? So it makes it easier when you see somebody else do something, it makes it easier to say, oh, he did that, oh, I could do that, you know? But I think anything in life you want to do and it forces you to, you know, like muster up the courage from like deep within you, I think is a great opportunity for you to overcome some fears and have some breakthroughs, you know. I definitely had breakthroughs during that experience.
I like what you said. I mean, you alluded to normalizing the experience by what you are, who you are, how you look, you know, so that it's relatable to others who might have some fears. That's a good spot for us to take another peek at your work. For those of you who joined us late, I am Rose October, an arts, culture, and things in between. My guest today is Natural Langdon. Let's take a look at some more of his work.
I'd like to thank the Cuban government and the people of Cuba for contributing to the rebirth of an artist. We all from humble origins. No credit card. I guess you could say I'm under the radar. Got no time for me, I'll catch you later. I know I look like I need a favor, but if you see me again tomorrow, you might see me doing it well. For hustling, make money, keep grinding, keep hustling, make money, keep grinding, keep hustling, make money, keep grinding, keep hustling, make money.
bichos saltaram, mas não falha, ok, Dredd? Vamos que o som não pode parar.
Don't let them break your little heart away. No, no, no. Don't let them break the children's heart away. No, no way.
Pra que racismo na consciência? Só alimenta
a violência.
Cheiro de revolta
eu senti no ar.
O que vinha do quilombo a me libertar. Mas quem sofreu foi zumbi, mas quem morreu foi zumbi. 500 anos de tortura e miséria, 500 anos de massacre é coisa séria. Enquanto os negros sofriam, o tronco a gritar, um grito que vinha do quilombo a me libertar. Mas quem morreu foi zumbi, mas quem sofreu foi zumbi.
Para o precipitado, o precipício. Eu não vou de embalo, mas na vida eu corro riscos. A vida não é fácil, se fosse eu não pedia pra nascer. O que é meu sempre atrás eu vou correr. Pedi para entrar, agora o jogo eu vou jogar. O Big Zen na banca desbanca na força dos orixás. If we didn't get up, I did it in the child.
So I am back. As in Rose October, I am back with Natural Langdon, producer, filmmaker, writer, photographer, director. You look at your work and you smile. Tell me why.
I'm blessed. I look at my work, I smile, I remember the people and the time we had, and you know, like how much love, you know, each one of these videos or different things that happen like comes with a great, you know, experience for me, and a humbling experience, because although I'm there and, you know, we're coming and connecting, you know, the journey or I hate to call it a struggle, but the process of getting there and being able to make the connection and being able to shoot the video and everything after, you know, it wasn't an easy journey for me. So now when I see it, I'm smiling like, yeah, you know, we did that, you know.
So let's talk about that. You went to 2 countries. Tell us where those, one was Cuba.
Right. And the other one was Brazil, Bahia, Brazil.
Other was Brazil.
Yeah. And
Cuba, there is Spanish. Brazil, there is Portuguese.
Yes.
Why not, and I'm throwing you a curveball here, why not Ecuador? Why not Australia? Why Cuba and Brazil? What was happening there for you in these 2 countries that landed you there?
I think it was just a spiritual thing. Like I go to where my spirit calls me, you know. A lot of times I don't pick the place, right? I say, wherever you want me to go, whatever's possible, however you get me there, then I'm going to do it, you know?
How did you connect with a group in, let's look at Cuba. Dear to my heart, I've gone to Cuba like 3 or 4 times, love the place. How did you connect with the group in Cuba?
Yeah, I was just there and we just bumped into each other. One night.
Hold on 1 second now, Natural. So you traveled to Cuba. What's the reason that you're traveling to Cuba?
I was just going to go to Cuba to really just look at the culture, you know, and connect with the people and to experience the Afro-Cuban, you know, music and cuisine and people. I just want to be with the people, you know, and
now you bumped into this group.
So, yeah, so I bump into Bazaar Royale, and we went, got some food, we were walking, and then something just like it started raining, something just happened. If I start telling the story, this sounds some crazy stuff, but like over a few transactions and talk, I was just like, yo, let me hear some of your new music. And he played some of his music. I said, tomorrow, be here at 10 and we're going to shoot a music video. And it was just like that. Like, it wasn't planned. It wasn't None of that stuff.
How did you know that he was a musician? Did you hear
You
him?
know, I didn't know initially. But once he said his name, I remembered him from some work that he did in the past. That I went to a show, and he was doing a show like back in the days, and so I remembered his name. So then that's when we started. I'm like, okay, oh, so you're Bizarre Royale. Oh, only Bizarre Royale I know is this one and that one. And he's like, okay, that's me. So I'm like, okay, that's what's up. What you doing now? And it was just like that simple. We started talking, and he let me hear some of his new music, and this song really resonated with me, and also with Cuba, you know, like keep on grinding, keep on hustling, right? And it said make money, money, right? But it wasn't only talking about money, right? Money is just the foundation to setting yourself up, you know, for the future, and like coming out of something, you know, to find yourself in a new way. And so the grind, the hustle, that all just resonated with me. I'm like, okay, let's shoot this, you know. And we wound up the next day shooting a video. But the thing was, the community just came together for us in such a profound way. I mean, like all doors opened up, everything was just wonderful. People were participating, and we just had a lot of community involvement. So it was a great thing.
I'm wondering if you had the community involvement because you were a foreigner, so to speak. Let me explain what I mean. I know in Cuba, there are very strict rules, very, very strict rules.
Mm.
So I'm wondering if, as a foreigner going in there and having all these doors opening up to you so that you can have access to certain spaces to shoot the video, was because you were a foreigner. Was that your case? Or what was your experience in terms of getting that set up?
I couldn't say if that was the reason, but I'll say maybe because I was a foreigner, I didn't know the rules. So it was no rules for me to adhere to, as long as I wasn't hurting anyone and people wanted to help. Like, okay, let's go. Maybe there's some restrictions or some things that I didn't know of. So I went what was organic, you know. This wasn't the first time that I shot a video in other places and other countries, and I'm sure it has a lot to do with maybe how I'm showing up as an American or a foreigner. But I do believe that it was a more of a spiritual thing, because I just believe it was more of a connection to the ancestors, the spirit, the people. Like, because you could be a foreigner and people don't like foreigners in different countries, or foreigners come places and be very arrogant, or very or fearful, or there's so many things that you could show up and do to just break the connection. So I just believe that it was the right place, right time, and right connection.
Now, do you remember where in Cuba did you?
That was Havana.
Havana. Oh, I have fond memories of Havana.
Yeah.
Cuba, yeah, like I mentioned quite a few times. Now, how was the experience in Brazil?
Well, that was a little more interesting in a different way, because for that one, I reached out. I knew I was going there, and I wanted to shoot a video. I wanted to connect with some artists there. So I was like really in search of finding the right artist to work with. And so I was looking on Facebook and different social media platforms to make a connection. And I heard different songs from people, but another thing is I don't speak the languages. So I had to find something that resonated with me on a more vibrational level, you know, like just a feeling. And I heard the song and I'm like, yo, I like this. So I reached out to the artist, and so we're having like this conversation back and forth through, you know, online. And I'm like, okay, I'll be there soon. But when I get there, it's time to shoot the video the next day. First day we meet up, and I realized, oh my God, we can't even communicate with each other, because he was using Google Translate to talk to me. But now we're in person, and now we're just both sitting there looking crazy, and there was no internet connection. So we're just sitting there. And I'm like, okay, this is not going to work. Meet me here tomorrow at this time, and I'll just show you what I want you to do, you know? and then we left each other. We were able to communicate like back online and set everything up, and then things just came together. Like it was just like it was just supposed to be as well. And I really wanted to get a sense of the Afro-Brazilian culture, you know, and really connect with the people there, and through meeting the artists, I was able to, you know, now have roots there, come back and spend time there more often, and create a book out of that experience.
Wow. And you mean, when you say create a book, you mean taking pictures and all of that?
1 second.
Okay.
So this is the book, Exploring the African Diaspora, and within this book, you see some of my work, and then you hear, you know, stories about kind of what got me started, you know, down this path. Stories of my grandfather taking me to the Caribbean when I was young, and taking me to the parades, and me kind of getting an idea that there were other Black people out there that weren't American, but we were one, you know? And that concept never really came to my mind before, you know, having some of these experiences.
What you just talked about here is the power of social media.
Powerful tool.
You sat here in the US, Google searched, found, connected with, traveled to, and then it happened. I mean, just like that. Was there a fear factor? Just going and meet with someone that you didn't know, and
I mean, there's always a fear factor, because, you know, you got to take in consideration, I'm not Superman, or I'm not, you know, I'm just a regular guy. You know what I mean? Like, I have some superpowers, but it's probably not the ones that is gonna save me from something bad happening. But I would say this: I believe in facing my fears. You know, I believe in, you know, faith, not fear. I believe in like do it afraid. I believe in like connection and spirit, where I had enough rapport with the guy. You know, Big Zen is his name, and we created enough rapport for me to feel comfortable. But also, I'm not stupid, so I made him come to where I was. Like, I didn't go to where he was, you know? So I put myself in a position where if something happened, I can do something. So I try to use, you know, a bit street smarts, a bit, you know, peace and love, and then a bit like, okay, if it got to go down, then okay, it's not going to be easy. So with those things, you know, I'm blessed that things have been working in my favor.
let me ask you this. What is a frightening experience that you've had overseas?
Oh, I've had quite a few different ones, but just recently, like last year, shooting the film Nikita. So we were in Brazil again, and we're shooting the film. Got done with shooting the film. Now I just went to the bank to pay some of the actors and stuff. So I like, you know, got a big knot of money in my pocket. I'm walking, me and my cousin, we're like talking, and then all of a sudden 2 guys roll up on us, and they have a machete, and another guy acting like he got a gun. And they, you know, we were just in our own little world, you know. And the thing was, it was 2 of them and 2 of us. And once we realized, like, oh my God, what's going on, you know, now we're able to become a little more assertive, you know, and being able to like bring force with force, you know. And they wasn't expecting that either, because it wasn't like they were targeting us. They just saw us. And so a big commotion happened, and then the people that we were staying with came running out. They got machetes, and it's just like, oh my God. So the guys are running, and it was a crazy experience. But you know, rolling up in Ghana, you know, you don't get the right permission from people to do certain things. You know, that's another thing too. You have to know how to come into these neighborhoods. You have to know how to connect with people. You have to have some sense of you know, rules to things, you know, and if you can, just go with like somebody that's from that community already, that's respected, and that could bring you in as family, you know. So there's many different levels to things and different scenarios in different countries, but I try to come with a good fresh spirit, good clean heart, good attitude, and the major thing I try to come with is respect. You know, I come with respect. I respect the people that I'm dealing with. I don't come in like, you know, big I and little you. Nah, like then you're gonna get hurt. So I just recognize that there's rules of engagement. You know, and I try to live by principles and codes and rules for all of us to have a good experience. And also, I'm not coming there to just take. You know, so when you come in and you bringing things to the community and you sharing and you giving, and you know, there's balance there. And then when the bad guys want to come to do something, is normally a good guy or a good woman or somebody there that's like an angel, and they sweep me up, throw me in a taxi or something, and like there's always some like angel that comes and just does something, and everything is just wound up being okay. And I tell people, you see me by myself, but I'm not by myself, you know? Like, just because I pulled up alone, you know, I'm not really alone. I have many people, you know, that love, support me, that pray for me, you know, that's there for me, you know? And so I walk with them, you know? I walk with good people, you know?
And they're walking with you.
Yes.
And talking about walking with good people and they're walking with you, I have to ask you this, and I know you're going to laugh. What is the composition of your crew when you travel?
This is going to be funny. Most of the time it's just me. Yeah, most of the time it's just me. And it's really mostly because of financial things, you know, like paying people to come fly with you and all this, you know, and most of the stuff is self-funded or, you know, funded through just community support. So it's not really enough funds to bring people. But I'll say this, and when I went to Ghana, you know, that was done through the Africa channel. So they had a camera crew here in America. They had a camera crew in Ghana. So that was like well put together because, you know, it was like a network behind it. But after that experience, I've been mostly shooting stuff on my own, and then also, you know, teaching people where I'm at to shoot, put the camera in their hands, give them some money to just hold themselves down or just to be with me. So there's so many different ways I have to do things, depending on where I'm at.
Are you
also?
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, and also the danger level of where I'm at, because, you know, also I wouldn't want to put someone else in a dangerous situation that I might be comfortable with and they're not, because then it leave a lot of room for something to happen, you know?
So I'm wondering, I'm trying to get into your head now, Natural. I'm wondering if, as you're preparing to go overseas, and whether you know the possibility exists that you're going to make a film or you're going to shoot a music video or any of the likes that you do is on the brim, whether you know that or not. I'm wondering if you have like a to-do list, period.
Yes.
And when you get there, it's not reinventing the wheel. So, you know, you have to get somebody to do the camera. You know, you have to get like 6 people to create this scene. You know, you need to get this particular environment or community, or, I mean, is that something that you're working with on your own before you get there?
Totally. Yes. I mean, I do a lot of preparation in terms of what I want to do. Why am I going to this community? What do I want out of this experience? I come up with a basic list, and then I kind of let that list just disappear, you know? And as I'm moving about, I check off stuff that's happening. I adjust. I communicate with people on the ground that I'm meeting, because I'm just meeting new people, or I'm blessed to know somebody that knows someone where I'm going, and then they put me in contact, and then that person really guides me through, right? Because now it's personal. And I found those to be the best experiences when I have somebody already kind of waiting for me. Just because even if I don't know that person, you know, there's a mutual bridge there, and those normally work well. But each experience is different. But I do have a criteria of things that I want to explore and examine, and people I want to speak with, and communities I want to go to, and because the culmination of all of this stuff that I'm doing will be a project that I'm working on, a documentary, just about, you know, not only my experience, but just collectively, you know, the experience of the people I'm interacting with, the people I'm dealing with, the people I'm meeting, you know, different, how things are crossing paths, and, you know, the similarities between all of these countries and people, and just how, you know, although a lot of us don't consider Africa to be like, there's a disconnect maybe from Africa, right? But then I realized through all of these places and transitions that there's a through line, there's a connection, you know, and even simple stuff like maybe how you speak or your mannerisms or something, that there's a direct connection or lineage to, you know, Africa or the Caribbean or, you know, Cuba or Haiti or wherever, you know, like there's a commonality amongst us.
Oh, wow. Love it. I'm enjoying this, and I hope you're enjoying it too.
Yes, I am. Thank you.
I really hope that our viewers are enjoying this, but I think now is a good time to take a break and look at some more, take a peek at your work. I'm giving you a quick break, but we're giving our viewers a treat of your work. So let's take a peek.
It's a reggae music.
The children on sacrifice, no satisfies. Listen to the word and feel the children cry for help for survival. Children need, children cry, why? Children cry, why? Peace for children, respect children, love the children. Peace for children, respect children, love the children. Sha-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na.
Cast, a mix of professional actors and helpful locals of all ages, shooting of the music video begins.
Action.
Natural has worked with many crews in America, but this is Ghana, and sometimes things go a little differently here.
Hey! Y'all start from there, right from the action of smack right here. Y'all gonna start from here with the smack and the push here. So, but she had the baby before, right?
In an emotional scene, the women of the community confront the abuse victim and urge her to leave her abuser, reinforcing the message of the song.
Go! Cut. You grab her here, and then y'all follow here. So right, this location, we put some serious work in here, and time to the next location before it turns dark. I want to shoot the whole video today. So right now we're just working out the logistics, make sure it's cool to shoot in the environment, and then we're gonna start building our story up from there. All right, we gotta do this soon because light going down.
Baby, you're so pretty, but you don't get it. Every day you come around and beat you like that. Why it's so fun living before it's too late? Your pretty face always wearing the sky, baby.
And you're smiling again, and so am I. Oh my goodness. For those of you who've joined us late, I'm Rose October. I'm sitting with Natural Langdon, and you just watched a couple of clips put together of his work in Morocco and Ghana, specifically. Now, I noticed that your work has poignant messages, and the song by Bobo Wayne was dedicated to children, so to speak. How did you connect with him?
So I went to Morocco after 20 years. So I went there 20 years ago. Then it was like the 20-year anniversary. I said, I'm going to go back and just see what it's like, you know, see if it's still the same, you know, vibe, same love. So I went there, but this time it was a bit different because other Africans from different countries were in Morocco now. And I met some guys from Gambia and Senegal. And I was talking to them, and like you said about the list earlier, well, I had a list, and one of the things on my list was to link with a local artist and, you know, connect and see if it was possible to collaborate. So then these guys introduced me to Bobo Wayne. Now, Bobo Wayne was like he's a local artist there that's kind of famous because he's not from there, for one. And then at the time, I believe it was MTV just came and did like a special on him. So he had different people from different places doing a special on him. And so we connected. Next day, I'm like, okay, meet me here. Let's shoot a video. So it just happened like that. Like I met him one day. The next day, shot the video, shot it in about 4 hours. And I was out of there after that, you know, because I'll say this, some of the same people that linked me with him at the end, you know, tried to, I guess, kind of press me for money and all types of stuff. And so it was like, you know, they're trying to figure out how they're going to get the best of the situation or the best of me, you know? And so once we realized that wasn't going to work and that wasn't going to happen, you know, Bobo Wayne was cool, but I had to deal with the other guys. And I just realized, like, you know, you have to always be aware and be conscious of who you're dealing with, because me and Bobo Wayne has something to gain out of the situation, you know? And although it was love and I was taking care of them, you know, they expected something else, but they didn't say that in the beginning. And in the beginning, I actually told them, like, yo, I'm telling you, because I already know the deal. I'm telling you, like, I'm only working with a certain amount of paper, right? And I'm not going to be able to, you know, just go crazy or whatever y'all expecting. So if you're expecting this, then let's not do nothing together. Like, we shouldn't even be around each other. Oh, no, brother. Okay. But at the end, they try to switch it up, and they just want to see where I was at with it. And then we came to an understanding real quick, and we were able to move on, and me and Bobo Wayne was able to, you know, have this video and collaborate and really have impact, because see, this video has won in festivals in the US and abroad, and it brought awareness to, you know, different suffering with children. And so it's done some great things, you know, just out of, you know, meeting somebody one day, and, you know, the work goes off, and it carries a message to the world. So I'm very proud of it.
You mentioned a challenge, an unforeseen challenge in working overseas, because you can be enticed. Yes, we're gonna work through this. We're gonna get through that. No, I got you. You know, bro. We here. You know, and then you get there, it's something else, and you really have to be thinking on your feet to make sure that you're safe across,
Yeah.
not just physically but financially.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be lost and a lot to be gained. The thing to be lost is your life, you know? So it's serious. But the thing to be gained is just the connection with people to love. Like, look, people are genuinely nice, kind, and loving, you know? And the thing is, I don't take it no way, because I understand poverty, you know, and I understand, like, people taking from you and not giving you nothing. And I don't believe in that, you know? But the thing is this, I try to be as straight up as possible in dealing with people in the beginning, because I know, like, it's dangerous, you know? And then also you gotta, you know, be able to stand up for yourself. And standing up for yourself, you could do it in a respectful way as well. Like, you don't have to be nasty or disrespectful, but you can't let people just think they could do whatever they want to you, because then you might as well just stay home.
True. I have one last question about that. Work with Bobo Wayne, before we look at your work with the Guyana group.
Mhm.
Now, the song about children, he already had written that?
Yes. So what happened was, once we first linked up, I went to his house. We talked over some tea, and they was playing songs for me. And when I heard that song, because he had other songs, but this song resonated with me because of the message, right? Because he had other songs that might have made a cool video, like dance video or whatever. It might have been more of a pop type, you know, commercial hit, but I wanted to shoot this song because of the messaging.
Okay.
Yeah, and
With you.
Huh?
It really connects with you because of your work and your passion for nurturing the youth.
Yes, I really like the message, and I felt like if I'm gonna do something, and like I'm spending all this time, money, and energy, then I want it to be bigger than me.
Talking about bigger than you, let's look at the work that you've done in Ghana.
That was originally, I had a dream that I was gonna go to Ghana, and I had no money. I'm trying to figure out, like, I woke up out the middle of my sleep like, oh my God, I'm going to Africa. I'm going to go to Ghana and all this stuff. And at the time, I haven't been to Africa, like, I think, except for the first time 20 years before, when I went to Morocco. So I wound up trying to figure out, like, how I'm going to get there. Who do I know there? So I went and looked up a childhood friend that I knew was there. And I looked at his message, and it was like 2 years prior. He wrote me, said, yo, bro, I had a dream that you came here, but hurry up because I might be leaving soon. But now, 2 years later, I never saw that message on Facebook. And 2 years later, I'm like, now I'm hitting him up like, yo, bro, I have a dream. I'm going to go to Ghana. But then I read what he wrote. I said, oh, man, okay. So I sent him a message. We started talking. He's like, hurry up because I'm about to leave. So I spoke to a guy that I knew in Berlin, and he was like, if you do a he told me if I do a crowdfunding campaign, he would help me. But I didn't even know what that was. Like, crowdfunding, what is this? So basically, he's like, he didn't say anything else. So I started asking people like that I knew, and then they was telling me about GoFundMe and all this stuff. And I had very little time, but I'm like, okay, let me try it, you know. And it was a blessing because I was able to raise over $3,000 just amongst friends and family and supporters. And then through that initial idea, that's when the Africa channel got involved. A colleague of mine's connected me with another colleague of ours that worked at the Africa channel. And then from there, they saw what I was thinking of doing. And then before you know it, not even a month later, you know, cameras are following me in Brooklyn, and then they're following me in Africa, like off of one little, like, you know, idea or message. Like, imagine I wouldn't have just when it hit me with that, imagine I didn't go online or like do anything. I could have just let that go as a dream, like, oh, some dream. And then I had no finance. Like, my bank account was like negative, you know? So I'm like, what the heck? And then I wound up being able to take the money and spread it around the community, because the Africa channel, once they got involved, they cut me a check. So the money I was able to raise, now I was able to just spread out, you know? So just off of one idea, one dream, you know, and me actively pursuing it, though, was able to like bless a lot of people. And of course, I was able to be blessed in a tremendous way just having this experience. And that was one of the things that birthed me traveling to all these other countries, because once I had that experience, I'm like, well, you know, I'm a filmmaker. I got these talents. This is what I want to do. And it was like became resonant in my heart to go out here and, you know, connect with different communities around the world and in different places and having different messages and experiences.
I hope that our viewers are getting the message too about following dreams, because this is a lot of what you're talking about. Now, you met one of the singers in the group is a teacher.
Yeah, both of the singers are teachers. So the group is called A Tetraphore, and both of Makoni and Sparkle, they're both professional teachers, but they were sending their message through their music because they felt like they could reach a broader audience than just in the classroom. Mm-hmm. And I have really loved the song and the message, and just the visual idea of, you know, shooting this in Africa, and just everything about it was just like, okay, you know. But this was the first time I ever shot a music video on my own, because prior to that, I've only done music videos as a co-producer, director, you know, with my partner. So this took like, you know, like now I'm going out the country and doing this, and, you know, I'm by myself. And so it was just, it was one of those experiences that I had to really rise from and like realize that like everything that I visualize, think, and believe, like if I put the practice to it, I can do it. You know, I can become successful at the things that's in my mind and that's in my heart, but I have to be willing to go outside of my comfort zone, you know?
So the message behind A Tetraphore's song is about domestic violence.
Yes.
And I know that the viewers didn't see all of this, but I was able to view some of your work. And one of the things I know that you said in making the video was that you wanted people to, not the model type, you wanted individuals who were in this, who were willing to be vulnerable and be a part of this, and not those who are dressing the part.
Yeah.
As I'm saying that, I'm just thinking about what's happening now. My mind is going off there in the tangent, whereby there are actors and actresses who are not of Caribbean heritage, and they're being trained how to speak like Caribbean people. But don't mind me, I was just having a conversation with my imaginary friend. But one of the things that you had said is that you really wanted to work with individuals who would bring through these characters and the message of domestic violence. And I liked that the singers of A Tetraphore, they're teachers, because the message is going beyond just being performing artists, singing about a plague that is universal, that one being domestic violence. I also know that you went around visiting schools and watching children go through some of their talent, their artistic activities. Did you use any of the children along that journey for the music video?
Yes, yes, we used some of the children that were doing, because we wound up going to a talent show and just seeing some of the youth do their routine, sing, dance, perform. And yes, we wound up using a bit of it in the music video. The thing that really made me happy, and I'm smiling because of two things. One thing is the girls showed up all beautiful with their like hair and their eyes, and it was just I mean, I could have tried to make it work, but to me it didn't seem real, you know, like it would have seemed like a joke unless we would have changed the whole kind of feel or idea of it. And I didn't want to do that. I want to stick with my vision. And that's another thing. When you believe in something, you know something, you know, you have to be able to stick with your vision, and you have to be able to not do it if it doesn't coincide with what you really see for the end game, you know? But going to the schools allowed us to talk directly with the youth. And we did touch on domestic violence, but one thing I realized, even going into communities talking to the men, they were saying like, oh, they don't have jobs, they don't have this, they don't have that. And people were like, well, what the heck does that have to do with domestic violence? But I got it immediately. Like, they don't have nothing. They don't have nothing to do. They're trapped in a world where they feel less than, and things are going bad, you know, in all aspects of their life, you know, and that's just one aspect. But I was so happy to hear the young girls, the young women, and their dreams and their goals and their perspectives and their like can-do spirit, you know, like it was like a whole nother world. Basically, like these young girls are empowered, you know, and it was amazing to see that. It was very touching to see that they were taking responsibility for their life being, you know, greater than their initial experience. So it was cool.
Nice. That means that your work is really touching the youth.
I think it was my work, but I also think more importantly, I think it was just the times we're in. I think it was the teachers that's putting in work with them every day. I think it's maybe their parents and a different generation now, you know, like a different infrastructure, a different way of life, like you know, girl power, women power, like it's different, you know, than even how I came up, or, you know, maybe their parents, or, you know, so it was empowering to see that they believed that they could be something bigger and greater than their experience, you know?
So in addition to your embrace of this journey in making this video with Atretra 4, I'm wondering how's the experience for you of addressing domestic violence in Ghana received? How was it for you? Here it is, and I'll use the F word here. Here it is, you're a foreigner coming in to a community. And yes, the members of Atretra 4, they're ready, they're willing, but you also have a very important part, a very vital part in pushing this message. How was that for you?
I just was really, you know, leaving it up to the artists, leaving it up to the community. I was just there to show support, right? Who am I to come in and tell people anything? Because I don't know, like you said, I'm a foreigner. I don't know what's really going on or why. So I was learning as I went as well. I was just there to absorb, to share my ideas and thinking, but more importantly to, you know, talk to the youth and let them know, like, you know, believe in your dreams, and different messages and messaging that would allow them to have a different type of life, you know, because even though domestic violence that happens worldwide, and you know it's you know it's a plague worldwide, right? I also didn't want to make it like, you know, this is a thing about Africa, or this is a thing about Ghana, or this is a thing about whatever, or I came with some type of knowledge or information that was like so new and fresh. No, I did not approach it like that. I just was there to listen, help the artists, you know, tell their story, and put some visuals to their message, you know. So I was just a contributor.
Nice, nice, nice. So we'll take one last peek at your work, and then we'll start wrapping this up. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, again, if you've joined us late, you've missed some really, really insightful messages and pieces of information. So you can always go back and watch the recording, but you know, you're on Arts, Culture, and Things in Between with Rose October, and I'm sitting today with Natural Langdon, who is a producer, a writer, a filmmaker, and many other things under Arts, Culture, and Things in Between. But let's take a peek at his work.
Greetings, Natural Langdon here, writer, producer, director, world traveler. I love to shoot, I love to produce, I love to interact with new people. My passion for film, arts, and education has taken me from producing award-winning films about urban drama and social injustice in Brownsville, Brooklyn, to documenting stories about the untapped potential in underserved communities around the world. Having traveled extensively through Africa, Europe, South America, Asia, and the Caribbean, I learned that there's never a shortage of stories, but it does take an undying commitment to stay on top of industry trends and master your craft so you can tell stories in a way that changes lives and empowers people to act. So now, I'm on a mission to enhance my knowledge, skills, and experiences, and collaborate with a group of like-minded artists and creatives. So let's work together. Peace.
That clip brings it all together for you, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
It does. You know, you're getting ready as you've done all of this work. And I don't know how you found the time, energy, and everything else that is required to get all that you've done. Yet there is more that I know that you're embarking on. So I just want to lift you. I just want to lift you up in spirit and
thank you.
Thank you. Vibes. But you're getting ready to embark on yet another significant journey of your life, the terminal degree. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I always wanted to be, you know, I always wanted to be a doctor, right? But I always knew I'm an artist. And back when I was a kid, just like when I was a kid, I would say like, I want to be a doctor. But it was probably impossible. You know, like, that's like something you get smacked for saying, you know, like, all right, shut up. You know what I'm saying? Go in there and do something with yourself, you know? And, you know, I think growing up, I felt like I was intelligent, you know, but there's certain times in school, I think, where, you know, teachers are great but I believe sometimes the system is designed, and especially for young Black men and women, you know, boys and girls, where it's set up against you. So after like maybe 3rd or 4th grade, if you don't understand certain math problems or certain things, like all of a sudden you became the kid that they was, oh, so smart to dumb, or to having some type of issue, or want to classify you in some type of way, you know, and then they knock the spirit out of you young, right? And then they tell you, oh, become this or that, or something that they think is like, doesn't deal with intellect, you know, or intelligence, and it's just discouraging. But after 20 years, after I left Benedict College, 20 years later, I went to Empire, State College and SUNY Empire State College, and I got my bachelor's degree. And then I'm like, okay, that one was for my mother because she sacrificed a lot for me, and that was her one request. But I don't even think she ever really believed. Like, I think she just made that as a request because that was one of the things that she felt might help me, in my life. But it wasn't never no pressure to become, like get a degree. Finish high school was definitely expected. But anything after that, I think it was just like, okay. So I went back to college 4 years ago, and I wound up getting my BA. Then I said, okay, let me try my master's. So I went to School of Visual Arts, finished my master's last year. So I'm like, okay, wait a minute. All right, let's go for the PhD. Like let's wrap this up in a nice bow. And also, I really did it too because I wanted to get my master's because I wanted to become a professor, a teacher, because teachers have been great instruments of change in my life, and when I was in Benedict College, a professor, Dr. Gunn, like he was the first like black man I knew that was a doctor, and he was cool and he had knowledge, and he was just like, and he helped me. He was like a mentor to me, and that put in my mind that it could be done, but I still didn't believe I could do it because school wasn't really on the top of my list of things to do. So now I decided, let's go for the gusto. I'm already here, and also I feel like I want to be the person that other people see and be like, oh, he did that, oh, I could do that, and it's just that simple, like, so that's the goal right now, to get the PhD. I'll be going to school in Europe, in England, so I'm just feeling blessed right now to have this opportunity and see how it changes the course of my life and maybe the lives of other people in the process.
How prepared are you for it?
I'm super prepared. I was born to do this, like I'm ready. Now, once the coursework come and things come, I will deal with it accordingly. I will make sure I stay in contact with my mentors. I would get new mentors. I picked a school where, I wanted to be with certain mentors and so I'm just open for the experience, the journey. Who knows how it's going to play out? I mean, I know at the end I'm going to be PhD doctor, but in between that, I don't know how it's going to play out, and I'm open to the challenges, to the experience, and I recognize that it, at this point it still takes a village, like, so I know now. See, the difference between me now and back when I first started college was I can ask for help now, without feeling like people think I'm dumb or I don't know what I'm talking about or whatever. Things that's thrown on you and dumped on you as a youth, people trying to belittle you or come up over you and on you and be bigger than you and better than you and all of these things that's happening. And now as a man, I could stand on my own ground, know that I could ask for help, know that that's not a sign of weakness, that's a sign of strength, know that there's mentors and people out here that could help you, and be humble in the course of the process.
So I'm going to ask you this last question. And it's from where you're sitting right now. What are your future plans after the PhD?
I mean, I always wanted to be my own boss, an entrepreneur. I want to teach in the school system, but also have my own business to generate, financial wealth for myself, my family, and community. So the goal is to continue on the path. Like I have no limitations. It's nothing that I can't think of that I can't do. The thing is, how important is it? Because everything come with a process, everything come with focus, everything come with, goals and goal setting. So I'm just trying to look at what's in front of me and just move one day at a time.
Well, I gotta tell you, you've already been doing some of these things that you just said you want to do. I guess you'll do it bigger,
Bigger, better.
you know, and rightfully so, because I really, truly admire the work that you have done, your body of work, and who you are as a person, who you are in terms of representation for the young Black boys, young Black girls, even for men um, your uh, your age, for anyone who's minority. I think it's, you mentioned that one of your professors at Benedict, he was the man for you because he was a doctor, he was cool, he was all these things, and in some ways that allowed you to see yourself as being like that professor. And here you are. And as I say this, I must say that I'll take the liberty. I know that the folks at Empire State College with whom you have worked, they are very proud of you and wishing you nothing but the success. But I know for sure, I have to drop names here, Dr. David Fallard,
Yeah.
who spearheads the Black Mayor Initiative, and Dr. Raul Manzano, who is an artist in his own right and has been a mentor to you, like Dr. Fullard. They're especially proud of you. So on behalf of all of us, I wish you the best. I really enjoyed sitting and chatting with you, and I hope you did too.
I had a great time. It's so weird just seeing everything transpire, and I just want to say thank you to everybody that's been supporting me on my journey. I can't do it without you because you just give me the strength to keep on going, and also allow me the opportunity to keep going. And I'm very, very grateful, you know, and to all my mentors, and to my dad, and to you know, Elliot, and just to all my peers. Like, you know, it's been a journey, but I'm grateful for the journey, you know, and I plan to keep on going.
What a great way for us to wrap this up, that you plan to keep on going, and I'll be cheerleading for you, so you know.
Thank you.
On that note, I want to say my thank you. But before I say that, I need to tell you that you should visit Natural Langdon's Facebook page to get more information about his work, and also visit his website, which is naturallandon.com. And like I do before closing, I have been saying thanks to you, the viewers, and I have also been putting in a plug for Ghana Cultural Association's that has gone virtual this year. The Literary Hang-On Symposium will be held on August 22nd, the award ceremony on Wednesday, September 2nd, the Kwekwe Friday, September 4th, and the Family Fun Day on September 6th. That's a Sunday. And please visit GCA's, Ghana Cultural Association's Facebook page and website for more information on the virtual programs. And this is the really nice part that I love about this program, because I get to say thank you. Thank you to two special people today. One of them is Marcy, and one of them is Marcia Gordon. So Marcia has done, oh gosh, Marcia has my YouTube page up and running for arts, culture, and things in between. Not all of the interviews are up there, but they're there. So please go look for arts, culture, and things in between on YouTube, and like and subscribe. She told me to say those things, like and subscribe. I'm dating myself, that's funny. And just as important, I want to say thank you to Raul de Silva. Raul, my highness, that I call you when you call me. We have this kindred spirit. I want to tell you how much I appreciate you. And I'm also speaking for Natural here when I say thank you. Thank you for your unselfishness and being there, doing the show with us. And I want to say to you out there, please look up RDE Pros, which is Raul de Silva's company, And Raul is a technical engineer, one of the best that we have in the Caribbean. I said it, Raul. I said it. So what are you going to do, Raul? Right? But kudos to Raul. Thank you very much. And to all of you who've been supportive, thank you. We hope you're able to join us next Sunday, 3 to 5 on arts, culture, and things in between. And Natural, thank you.
Thank you, Rosa. I appreciate you so much.
You've just watched my interview with, or what I call my discussion with Natural Langdon, who is a producer, a filmmaker, a writer, a director in his element, and he still has more in him to do. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for joining. Hope you have a very productive week and see you next time. Bye for now.
Peace.